Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am your host of Mindset in the Morning. This is Jen Sugarmeyer, and I want to thank you so much for spending your time here with us today. And the show is all about getting intentional about our lives and where we want to be and really paving the way intentionally. I always say life can happen to you or you can happen to life. It is one of the two. And the truth is, when life just happens to us, we often find ourselves in these states of fear, frustration, anxiety, resentment, boredom, embarrassment. We find ourselves in a place that we don't feel good. But when we're in the driver's seat, because if you asked yourself, how do you want to feel today? None of us would say, I want to feel like crap. None of us would say that. We will all say, no, we want to feel like we're on vacation, that we're in a good state of mind, that we're at peace. And truthfully, that's where we're at in our most powerful states. And so that's where we want to be. But life is happening so fast that sometimes it's like a tidal wave. I don't know about you, but it's like a tidal wave. And it can paralyze us. And we just start going through the motions. I was one of these people just going through the motions of life. I didn't find it that fun or exciting anymore. I was just going through it. And that's when I said, hold on, pump the brakes. There has to be more to life than just this. And I would see some people that were genuinely happy, but there's no one definition of happiness. So I just kept saying, I want happiness. And I was just using that word. But happiness for one person doesn't look like happiness for another person. So I went on this quest to just understand what is happiness and how to find it. And that's where we ended up today. And so when we become intentional about our lives, when we know where we're going, then we can start to pave the path there. Then when things come in our life, we can engage the right tools in our mind and say, hold on, I choose happiness. And you put boundaries in your life around it. So that is the point of this show, is so that when you wake up in the morning or whenever you choose to watch this, that you are becoming intentional about who you want to be, how you want to show up. And if you are anything other than happiness, peace, joy, clarity, if you're in anything but these states, which I call a beautiful state, then what we need to do is just tune the mind to the right channel. So speaking of channel, if you could do me a favor, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I don't build the algorithm, I don't make the rules, but YouTube says the more people we have following the channel, the higher it comes up on the algorithm. And we are trying to make a worldwide impact. I would love for people to be tuning in every single day so that they get their dose of intentionality, so that as they're going out in the day, they're like, I am ready. So this week we are talking about, I found this article, 10 things that keep us in fear from moving forward. And on Monday, we talked about change. Yesterday, we talked about loneliness. And today we're talking about rejection. Even the word is kind of gross. Rejection. It just doesn't sound, you're rejected. Nope, can't enter here. Yeah, it doesn't feel good to be rejected. And there are different levels of rejection. You can have a person reject you. Maybe you go to ask somebody out and they say no. Maybe you ask somebody to marry you and they say no. Or maybe you apply for a job and the answer is no. And the way we interpret this is that we've been rejected and it just doesn't feel good. So we're going to change this around. How can we make this thing into a positive? This is one of those, we didn't expect that to happen. And quite frankly, a lot of people don't even start because they're so afraid. Now, what if they say no? So I'm not going to approach that beautiful woman sitting there by herself. I'm not going to approach that guy in the bar because what if he says no? What if she says no? But what if they say yes? let's focus on that. You know, it's funny because there's so many of us, and I don't know the exact numbers, and there's so many different lotteries that you can play, but we play the lottery so often. And whether that's the big lottery, I don't even know all the different types, or maybe you go, watch the horse races and you're betting on the horses, or you go to the casino or whatever, and you're betting. And it's so easy for us to go put $5 down on a scratch off. And we don't get this emotional connection to it. We know that there's a level of probability that goes along with just playing. We know that it's one in umpty ump million. So we don't get real personal with the outcome. In fact, probably most of us, if we're playing, we don't really think we're going to win. We hope we're going to win, but do we actually think I have the winning ticket? I mean, maybe that would be really a positive way, I guess, to look at it. But we know that the odds are so small. In fact, when you go bet on the horse races, they will tell you the odds. You have 80% chance, or this one is, slotted to win. And therefore, if you bet against the winner, if you go for the underdog, then you make more money. And so there's like odds that go with these bets. And so we don't get wrapped up in the outcome. But if we feel like, oh, we're going to start a business or ask somebody for something, and maybe it's just their time. I mean, for a long time, and I don't know that this is the reason I didn't ask people to do a birthday party for me, or I didn't plan anything for my birthday, because I don't know, maybe I didn't want to be rejected, or I really didn't want to inconvenience people. It was just a personal feeling. And so in order to avoid that, I just avoided a birthday party. But the truth is, and Brene Brown, if you're not familiar with Brene Brown, I'm a huge fan. So I would go watch some of her talks. She did her research, and she got her PhD in shame, shame and vulnerability, I believe is what she got it in. And she talks about, she's so eloquent. And I believe she really, although she didn't make up a lot of these concepts, she's been the face of a lot of them and has brought more of them to light. But without risk, there is no reward. So by us putting ourselves in this fear of rejection, then automatically you aren't going to benefit. You aren't going to reap the reward because you haven't put yourself out there. So you're holding yourself back because of this fear. But and you will not win. Your chances are literally zero if you never play. So if you don't apply for that job, if you don't ask that person out, if you don't play the lottery, then 100% your chances, your outcome is going to be zero because you didn't put yourself out there. And we have this expectation, okay, maybe outside of we expect with the lottery that, yeah, we're probably not going to win. They already tell us it's like 1 in 500 million or whatever. I have no idea what the odds are, but they're so small. But guess what? Somebody does win. And when they do, wow, they've just won how many millions of dollars. But if that person had said, it's not worth the risk, then they absolutely never would have won. But it becomes a lot more personal when it's our feelings are involved. So what if we took out that expectation and we started to look at our life like the lottery? I think we probably have better odds in the things that we're going after. And that's part of it, is that we have to be aware of, okay, it should probably play a role, a factor. Do you have a shot at this, or is it a complete long shot? And I've taken long shots in my life before. I think about the time that I applied for this internship in Venice, Italy. And it was at this art museum. And I wasn't even an art major. I went to Italy after college, and I had a degree in criminal justice. And I went to this art museum a couple of times and I loved it. And I thought, man, that would be so amazing if I could go work there for a few months. So I applied for this internship, and guess what? I didn't get it. But I also understand why. I have zero qualifications. And even if I did, they only had, I don't know, 2 spots, 3 spots. And how many people want to be in Venice? I don't know how many people tried out, but I'm sure it was more than just me. So I didn't take it personally. I understood. Would I have loved to have had that internship? Oh, absolutely. To wake up in Venice every day. But I ended up in Florence, and I ended up having the most incredible time. In fact, I stayed there for more than just a few months. I ended up staying there for another, I think, year and a half. So I had done my study abroad first. When I was still in college, I fell in love with the country of Italy. And then I went and stayed for another year and a half. And the only reason I stayed for another year and a half is because somebody I had met when I was in college, I reconnected with, and ended up having meeting a whole bunch of other people through this person. And it was just a really amazing time. So I wouldn't have had that whole experience had I gone to Venice. Quite frankly, I would have had a different experience, but I embraced the experience that I was given. So yeah, you put yourself out there sometimes for things that are, maybe you have a small probability, but again, the answer is definitely no if you never try. So true. I don't have a vehicle. And I made this decision about 2 years ago. I said, I don't need this expense. I don't need the worry. I don't need the hassle. I'm getting rid of my vehicle. And now, I still don't have one, and it has become my lifestyle. And so I take the train quite often. And I will say, honest to goodness, that I get approached the most. I get asked out the most when I'm on a train. Now, I don't know. I don't go out in public a whole lot. I probably need to do that more, but I'm very focused on whatever. And so I am definitely, when I'm on the train, I am visible. And I've thought about this quite often. Why is it that when I am out in public, I'm not being approached when I'm at the bar with friends or at a concert or whatever? But when I'm on the train, people just come up to me. and so I always joke with my friends. I'm like, if I ever need an ego boost, I just need to go ride the train, because for sure I'm going to get hit on like almost every single time. And it's a little comical to me. And this one guy, I was thinking about it, and he walked up to me, he goes, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "What's going on?" "Hey," he says, "Can I get your number?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "Okay." And literally that was it. That was it. He didn't go into the state of suffering. He didn't anything, because I mean, he put himself out there. I said no, which is rejection. I rejected that offer. No, thanks. Not interested. But so often we make this the outcome about us. And what he doesn't know is, am I already dating somebody? He doesn't know my type. He doesn't know, maybe, I just lost, maybe I'm a widow. He has no idea my situation. But he had disassociated himself with the outcome. He really, to me, it didn't appear that he had these expectations. He just saw it and he went for it. And what if we started to disassociate ourselves more with the outcome? Yes, it would be nice if, but it's not going to cripple me if I don't get this. Because as we know, the world is always working for us. And we talk about this all the time. And if the universe is truly working for you, then this rejection is not against you. This is in your favor. And maybe You want to be friends with this group of people, or maybe you're currently friends with one and there's some parting of the ways. Maybe you've outgrown them. I've had that happen too. Or these people you think, man, they're so great. They'd be really fun. And you get to know them a little more and you think, ooh, not so fun. They've just got a lot of things in their life that I'm just not willing to deal with. Keep them at a distance. So you never know what it is. I mean, there's so many reasons that you may not have got that job. Maybe somebody else already was slotted for it. Maybe you don't have the right qualifications and you'd be in way over your head. I applied for a job one time. This was an internal job. And in hindsight, I realized that if I had, because it stung, when I didn't get the job and somebody else just came in, I thought, boy, they didn't even acknowledge that they received my resume. And I'm an internal hire. It's not like they can just ignore me. I mean, I'm there. I show up to work every day and they didn't even acknowledge me. I felt so rejected from that. And you hired somebody else and that person became my boss. I found out through an email, hey, you have a new boss. I'm like, that was the job I applied for. None of that situation felt good. And I realized that as I saw this position unfold, because it was a new role, they had made a lot of reorganizations within the company. I would have been in way over my head, way over my head. But now, whether or not that was their reasoning, it doesn't matter. The world was working for me. And it felt personal, and I was upset. But if we can disassociate ourselves with that outcome, if we can say, you know what, it's just data. It's a yes or no, just like that guy walking up to Jen on the train station, him going, hey, yo, can I get your number? No. Okay. And that's all it was. Hey, can I get that job? No. Okay. I worked for this company. Well, I've had this happen a few times, and people have said, Jen, I want to work for your company, or I want to work with your company. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because I can see what mess you're about to walk into. I know that your company is not going to get paid if you work with my company. I know that your boss is going to be horrendous if you start working with this company or whatever it is. I may have a completely different perspective than what you have. And so sometimes we just get so fixated. I want this thing. I want this thing. I want this thing. I want this thing. And we know that where your thoughts go, your energy flows. So if you're so fixated on something, you're like, I want it. I want it. I want it. I need it. I need it. I have to have it. Have to have it. And then we don't get it. And we get so disappointed. We have to remember the world is working for us. The universe has your back. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. So let's disassociate ourselves with some of the outcome. And that door wasn't right for you. So try a different one. The one that you had in mind, maybe the universe knew something that you didn't. Maybe the true love of your life is still out there. Maybe that perfect job is somewhere else. Whatever that may look like for you. But life is like the lottery. And if you don't play, you don't win. That is for sure. You have to put yourself out there. There is a risk to being alive. There is, if you want to live. If you stay in your house, you never go outside, and you never put yourself out there, then you will never receive any kind of joy. You'll just be by yourself. We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable in order to experience reward. And that's the whole premise of Brene Brown's work. So I hope that helps. I would love to hear from you. I'd encourage you to go. So this is Mindset in the Morning, brought to you by Higher in Heels. And I would encourage you to go out to higherinheels.com or drop something in the chat and just what resonated with you with rejection, or what is something that you're going through. And if you have a topic that you want to talk about, message me and we can either do a coaching on the air. You can tell me exactly what's going on with your situation, or you can say, hey, Jen, I'm just dealing with this topic. Can we talk about this? So again, if you have not liked, if you have not subscribed, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps blow this algorithm up. And we want to get good messages out there for people, because now more than ever, with COVID and all of us just being inside, we need some of that mental maintenance. And that's what this is all about. So we're live here 5 days a week at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I will see you back here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, and we're going to be working through some of these reasons that we don't step out because we have fear about them. But now we're not afraid of rejection. So go get it. However you want to show up today, go be that person. And I'll see you here tomorrow. Cheers.